Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
On the long road, won't turn around. Secrets in the shadows, lost and found. Truth in every echo, loud and clear. Keep on with the long road, no more fear.
Welcome to The Long Road. I'm your host, Kris Roberts. And today I've decided not to go into politics. I decided to have more of a informational show. And basically today's show is going to be about veterans. And one is going to be just how does America take care of its veterans? And then if I have enough time, I will talk about how American veterans get scammed. And a lot of times they get scammed by organizations that say, hey, we're out here to help veterans. We're looking for your best interest. And in, for example, 2022, veterans were scammed out of a confirmed excess of $292 million. That's right, $292 million. The 2023 is not in, but at the rate that it's been growing every year, it would not be surprising if the amount of money that veterans have been scammed out of in 2023 exceeds $325 million. Okay. There are people out there that says we don't do enough for our veterans. We don't take care of our veterans. We don't honor our veterans. Why do we have so many homeless veterans out there? Why do we have so many veterans committing suicide each day? Depending on what number that you go through, it could go from anywhere to 16 to 22 per day. And again, you know, some of these organizations use these numbers to get people to donate to them, and they don't help. They may only put pennies on a dollar to help veteran suicide or homeless veterans. And so what I'm going to talk about today is, when we look at it, you'll find things that you may not agree with, but they're factual. You may not agree with them because it's been repeated over and over and over again. But, and then there is some of the people will say we can never do enough for our veterans. We need to give them everything. They rate it. Well, I'm a veteran of 21 years of active duty. I'm a veteran service officer. I help veterans file claims. I help widows file claims. I do a whole bunch of those. I've done about 1,500 clients in the past 7 years. I've got almost $5 million in back pay, retro pay for veterans. Over about 85% of my claims are successful. But I don't charge a penny. I don't charge a veteran a single penny. Most people don't understand that under the law, you're not supposed to charge to file a claim. You're not supposed to be able to charge to file a claim. Well, people get around it and ask veterans for donations. The more you donate, the more I can help you. That's fraud. You know, I know we're going to file a claim. I can look at that. I've had people come in to see me, and less than an hour, the whole claim has been filed, uploaded, and everything. Didn't cost them a single penny. Then I've seen people on the outside say, yep, come in. They drag out the person's claim for a long period of time and say, yeah, I'm going to do you the claim for free, but I'm going to need you to pay me for research, pay me for this, pay me for this, pay me for this. Again, that's fraud. I just had a veteran came up to me Friday and said, hey, Kris, I finally got 100%. He was impatient. He says, I only had to pay 30% of my back pay and everything, and but it was worth it. Well, if you go to a credit VSO, you don't pay any. And if you go to someone out in town, a lawyer or someone like that, you're only supposed to pay 20%. So if that guy got paid $50,000 in back pay, the most he was supposed to pay is $10,000 to someone outside, but he ended up we'd been paying $15,000, so he got defrauded out of $5,000, and as far as he was concerned, it wasn't even a scam job. He didn't even realize that he got defrauded out of there. So there's a lot of people claiming to help veterans or want to help veterans, but they're helping themselves. Okay, what does the United States government do for its veterans? Do you know in 2023 budget, United States paid $302 billion to help veterans. That ain't a little number. That's a pretty big number. $302 billion. So really going forward, it is quite possible, and there has been projections that the federal government over the next 10 years could spend between $4 and $5 trillion just on benefits for veterans. At the same time, it could be spending around $10 trillion or more for the Department of Defense. So when you take the Department of Defense and you take veterans, we could see that the United States taxpayer will be on the dime, well, much bigger than a dime, of about $15 trillion plus to fund DOD and the Department of Veterans Affairs. $15 trillion. Because what happened was when all the people that said, hey, you know what? Let's go back to war in Iraq in 2001. You know, because Saddam Hussein has all these weapons of mass destruction and everything. Well, it didn't take as long to come up and say, nope, they didn't have weapons of mass destruction. So, congressmen, senators, presidents, they say, you know what, we got to do something. So, they said, let's change some of these different rules about veterans' benefits and things like that. And they changed and they weren't worrying about the cost. The goal is, since Abraham Lincoln, was ensuring our veterans receive the benefits they've earned and deserved is a critical national priority. Okay? And what does the United States spend? The United States government spends $148 billion every year on disability payments, disability compensation. That $148 billion, and it keeps going up. It goes whatever the percentage Social Security goes, automatically gets an increase in the monthly payment. It continues to go up. Veterans disability, veterans with a service-connected disability, a physical or mentally illness or a condition that was incurred or aggravated in the line of military duty are eligible for monthly support. Payments grow in step with disability ratings. Benefits are adjusted for the number of dependents if a veteran has 30% or higher. According to the Veterans Administration Annual Benefit Report, 5.7 million veterans receive an average of $23,505 compensation in 2023. I think that number may be a little bit high, but in addition, the VA has 3 pension programs. If you've served at least 90 consecutive days and 1 day during war, you are eligible for a war pension. Okay? That's why Department of Defense, in the first Gulf War, when they were bringing reserves on, especially the Air Force, they were only bringing them on for 89 days. So that means they wouldn't qualify for a lot of VA benefits. Okay. And what happens on those pensions, you got to have asset limitations and different things like that. You have to be honorably discharged. So, okay, if I served during time of war, say I served, okay, I did not even have to go to war. So say I served from, and the war period has still been going on. So say I served from 2015 to 2019. Okay? I can't get a job. I can't get things. I never left the country. I don't have anything that's service-connected wrong with me. No mental issues, no physical issues, no chronic physical issues, no mental issues. I just don't have nothing. Okay, I can go to the VA and apply for a war pension. Okay, that goes all the way back down into the Civil War. Okay, then I could get a war pension up to $14,211. So, if I get Social Security disability at $900 a month, okay, so that gives me $10,800 a month. Okay, so the VA would subtract that $10,800 and say, okay, we owe you $3,400 to bring it up to that $14,211. If you don't have Social Security disability, or even if you have, say, a VA disability of 20%, that gives you, okay, you give up the VA, you get a VA disability of 30%, you're getting a little bit more than $600 a month, about $75,000 a year. You can say, nope, I want my war pension. So you get the pension, you give up your 30% disability rate because now you get the war pension, but all your treatment, drugs, all that kind of stuff, it's free in the VA system. So it's better to collect the war pension or the non-service connected pension that some people call it. And then you're able to take care of. So you've got money coming in, not a lot, but when you look at $14,000, there's a lot of people on Social Security that don't make that amount of money. So you got $14,000, you've got a lot of stuff that's taken care of. You're eligible for government housing, subsidized housing, a whole bunch of stuff. But then people go, but what about our homeless veterans? Here's the catch. You have to serve 24 consecutive months and have a good discharge. A general discharge, under honorable conditions, an honorable discharge. To be a veteran, if you're, say, in a service for 15 months and you're sent out the door for with a general discharge for, say, failure to adapt or frequent involvement with military or civilian authorities, you are not considered a veteran for VA purposes unless in that, say, 15 months you're on active duty, you got hurt. And it's a lifelong condition. Then you can be eligible for veteran status, but you have to apply for that disability. If you don't apply for that disability, you don't have a disability, you're not a veteran, so you can't get veterans health care. Okay. Another pension, you have a Medal of Honor pension. Okay. In 2023, there were 63 living Medal of Honor winners, recipients. You don't win the Medal of Honor, you're a recipient. And if you're a Medal of Honor recipient, in 2024, you get $1,671 extra a month, or equivalent of $20,000 a year extra. Survivors' pensions. If the veteran served in a time of war and is eligible for a war pension and is over 65, or the veteran passes and his wife's over 65 and she needs what's called aid and attendance, assisting with daily needs, whether he or she's in a nursing home, adult daycare, or being treated at home, they can get, it's up to a little bit more than $1,400 a month to cover expenses, medical, non-reimbursable medical expenses. If it's the veteran, then it's non-reimbursable. The veteran would get a little bit more than $2,400 a month. And does the VA help veterans? The VA healthcare system, which is one of the best in the country and is a heck of a lot better than a lot of healthcare systems, a lot of hospitals and clinics, especially in rural areas and inner city. As of last year, there was 1,298 sites of care. Hospital, urgent care, community living centers, healthcare centers, community-based outpatient clinic, like in Keene, and outpatient service sites in dialysis centers. Most people don't even realize that if you need dialysis, the VA, and you're near a VA and they have a center, you can go right there. Or if you're in New Hampshire, you can go, in some of the other places, you can go community care and the VA will send you right there to take care of it. And again, like I said, to be eligible, veterans must meet minimum service requirements. Exceptions are made for veterans discharged due to service-connected disabilities. If you're a recruit going to Paris Island and you're right there on the bus at 3:30 in the morning and the DI is yelling, get off my bus, get off my bus, get off my bus, you trip and fall getting off that bus step, and you smash your face, break your jaw and nose, and you can no longer stay in the Marine Corps, you will be discharged as a service-connected veteran. Even though you got hurt within a matter of minutes of being at Paris Island, because that would be considered service-connected. How has VA been changing over time? Since the Iraq-Afghanistan war, $170 billion are spent for mandatory spending programs. $131 billion is provided through appropriation known as discretionary. Disability, those in healthcare, certain healthcare ones are mandatory spending. The healthcare is not really is not mandatory, excepting for some people. The what happened is Some recent legislation has made some healthcare spending mandatory. Okay. The VA is in 1996, the VA, the Congress and the president decided to open up the VA to everybody. Before, you had to be service connected, you had the kind of blind, broken back, amputee, but you had service connected. But they said, no, let's open it up to everybody. Then everybody came in, and a lot of the people that came in had other health care. When I was living in Irvine, I knew a guy from Newport Beach was going in the VA because the medicines he needed for his heart condition and everything were so expensive outside that he could get them at a very reduced rate in the VA. So that's what he did. So Congress then changed it. Nope, we can't do that. And they created an 8-tier system. Priority Group 1, disability that's 50% or higher, unable to work due to disability or Medal of Honor winner. Okay? Priority 2, disability that's 30 to 40% disabling. Priority 3, disability that's 10 to 20% disabling, discharged for a disability, former prisoners of war, or Purple Heart Medal recipients. Because you can get a Purple Heart but have no VA rating that would be paying you money. Number 5, you have no service-connected disability and eligible for VA pension/Medicaid. So again, you could be under here, you could get VA, you could get a wartime pension, you're getting, say, $14,000 a year. That means you're also eligible for Medicaid. Number 6 has no service-connected disability and a combat veteran. What they've done lately, they've expanded the scope of what considers the combat area. And so some of the people could be, okay, I don't have to be in Afghanistan and still be considered a combat veteran. I don't have to be in Iraq and still be considered a combat veteran. I may have been stationed in Saudi, or I may have been stationed in Bahrain, or some of these other places, and then or Kuwait, and then get considered as a combat veteran. So I have no service-connected disability whatsoever. So part of when they change some, so you got number 6, your service connect, you have nothing wrong with you as a result of your service. It's just that you were in a combat zone. Number 7, no service-connected disability and below the geographical adjusted income limits. So every county in the country has a geographical adjusted income limits. So where, for example, the income limit for San Francisco may be like $125,000, but the income limit in Cheshire County may be $56,000, and the income limit on a Native American reservation in Montana may be $38,000. Okay? But you got to pay co-pays. Number 8, no service-connected disabilities. You are above the income limits, and you agree to pay co-pays. Now, this is where it gets distorted and where the news and different agencies and everything will distort. Okay? But that's why they're called priority. The number one priority group that the VA must take care of is priority one. People who are 50% or higher, who are unable to work because of their disability, which is duplicitous because you have to have 60 of one, or you have to have 40 of one and at least 70 or over to fall in that one of unemployability and a Medal of Honor. You know what? The Medal of Honor person's been through a bunch of crap and they deserve it all. Then it goes down. Okay. Now, for example, me, I have 100% disability, stupid cancers and strokes and all this other stuff. Plenty of broken bones and everything. The VA has to take care of me 365 days a year. They have to have money available to take care of any of my needs, medical needs, or anybody else who's in the 50. So, for example, you're number 7 and you told you need a knee replacement and it is May. Okay? So you have no service connection or anything. So the doctor goes and says, the VA hospital says, we will give you your knee replacement, but we will not schedule your knee replacement to October. BS flags go all over the place. You're not treating me like I deserve. Okay? You have nothing wrong with you. You're number 7. You have nothing wrong with you. You never served in a combat area. Yes, you may have been on call to go, but you never served. But the hospital director has to go and says, well, if I give these three or 4 or 5 guys knee replacements now, I may not have enough money to take care of people in priority 1 and priority 2 in August and September. And what can I do if the budget isn't passed in October and it's just a continual resolution and I have to not allowed to spend anything more? That's why you have the priority list. Not to not keep people from getting service, but to allow people up at the top to get service. But at the same time, while priority 1, 2, and 3, the VA has always been responsible for, priority 6, 7, and 8, up until 1996, the VA never took care of. So these people are getting benefits now on healthcare service. Okay, how is the VA? In the year 2000, there was 26.4 million veterans. In 2023, there's 18.3 veterans, 3 million veterans. So the number of veterans has been reduced by almost 30% in the last 23 years. And the number, depends where you go, is about 700,000 less each year. In the year 2000, 26.4 million veterans, World War II veterans, Korean War veterans, Vietnam veterans. To give you an example, in the year 2000, the youngest Vietnam veteran was 44 years old. You got the year 2000, The youngest World War II veteran was 72 years old. And the Korean War one were in their late 50s and in their 60s. So out of that group of 26.4 million, only 1 out of 13, basically only about 8% of those veterans, and a lot were combat veterans. 8%, 1 out of 13, were receiving a disability check from the VA. World War II, Korea, Vietnam. You care to guess how many people suffered gunshot wounds, illnesses like malaria and typhoid, things like that? And look at that number. In the year 2023, which puts the youngest World War II veteran at about 95. The youngest Vietnam veteran about 67. The Korean War veterans are in the 80s. Okay. World War II was down to about 600,000. Koreans were really low. Vietnam veterans are dying at a much total number rate. 1 out of every 3. In 2000, only 2.3 million veterans were getting a disability check. In 2023, 5.7 million, or more than 33% of all the veterans that are alive today are collecting disability. The disability check for the average veteran who collecting disability was $11,900 in the year 2000. In 2023, it was $23,504. In the year 2000, the median income wage in the United States was $30,000. Last year, the median income in the United States was about $36,000. $6,000. So the median income in that time frame went up 20%, while the for the VA disability, it went up over 100%. Healthcare spending has been growing as in the past 2 decades. The number of veterans using the VA healthcare system has grown as its numbers categorized as severe disability, which drives demand for healthcare. For example, the last year, for the data was available, there were 6.1 million veterans using healthcare, nearly double the number in the year 2000. Okay, what happened here is as a lot of these individuals, the increase in the healthcare was people 65 and over. Well, a lot of them came early at 62. They retired. They didn't have any more healthcare, so they went to the VA. 65 and older because they couldn't afford Advantage plans. They couldn't afford co-pays. The 20% that the VA was charging, Medicare was charging. And in some of them, I've known some, their Social Security check was so small, they stopped taking Medicare Part B and only used the VA for health care, because that $2,000 extra that they were paying to Medicare, they could no longer afford it. In 2018, there was 2.2 million veterans in Priority Group 1. In the year 2000, there was 450,000. From 2000 to 2018, the number in Priority Group 1 more than increased by 5 times. Post 9/11 veterans have a higher disability rate, 41% high relative to all veterans at 25. Some of it is because wounds on the battlefield, people are living where they used to die on the battlefield. Each year, Priority Group 1 to 4, the VA pays about $13,500 in health care. So that's what the VA would average pay for me. My average was higher because I had service-connected cancer and I had to have 40 treatments early this year. So that means my group and I had MRIs and these other special tests. So I could easily be in 25,000-30,000. On the bottom 4 groups, it's it's less than $5,000 a month, a year spent on them. The government likes that because statistics have shown a veteran using the VA cost about 30% less than the veteran using Medicare. So if all these veterans in these priority groups 7 and 8 used Medicare, that would drastically increased the Medicare problems. And so the number of people that that were coming into the VA with no service connector, any issues, peaked about 2006. That's when they opened it up for a couple of years for them to come in. But now it's been going down as of 2018. Around 2006, 2007, it was a little bit more than 3,000. Then it went down to about 2.7 in 2018, but it's going up drastically under the PACT Act. But the number of people using the VA, the disabled using the VA in year 2000 was 1.3 million, and now 3.7 million use the VA disabled. But if you listen to the numbers, there is almost 2 million veterans with VA disabilities collecting that who do not use the VA health care system at all. Just think of it. Almost 2 million service-connected veterans do not use the health care system at all. They may have good health care, they can go someplace else, don't live by a VA or whatever. For some reason, they choose not to use the VA health care system. Okay. Before we go on to talk about the disabilities, but when you look at what the VA has for war pensions, what the VA has for health care, a lot of the people who are considered veterans, they go, wow, these veterans are homeless. Again, a bunch of them do not meet the criteria of a veteran. They failed to meet the minimum standards of 24 consecutive months. They may have had disciplinary problems. They may have drug problems. They may have a number of problems that they did not earn the right to be retained in uniform. For the ones that did, there are a lot of options out there. Okay? So not every person who claims to be a homeless veteran is a homeless veteran. I had an individual who came to me and says, hey, I need you to help this veteran. He served in Vietnam and all this kind of stuff, and he has all kinds of problems. I said, okay. So I go in, I get the stuff, and I find the guy, and I go, holy crap. He's not a veteran. He spent 26 or 28 days in boot camp and was dropped and sent home. And what the individual did was he stayed away from home for over a year, came back, and told everybody he returned from Vietnam. And everybody treated him as a Vietnam vet, war hero, and all this other kind of stuff. And when I showed the individual who was trying to help this individual who was homeless for a while before it was being taken care of some other stuff. He was so hurt. Okay, I don't want anybody to be homeless, veteran, non-veteran, or whatever. I don't want anybody to go out without health care. Okay? But not every person who claims to be a homeless veteran is a veteran. Not every person that goes down as a veteran suicide is not a veteran. Again, I don't want anybody to die by suicide. But there is stolen valor all over the place. You got a veteran PTSD. Claim PTSD, bang, bang, bang. Stolen valor. Have another, bang, bang, bang. Stolen valor. Another one says, oh, yep, the guy who said he was in Vietnam. He got VA disability because he was lying. Stolen valor. You will be surprised about the number of stolen valor there is here in Keene. I know of at least 10 stolen valor people in Keene. Because of my job, it is frustrating that I can't out them. It irritates me when I see them and know that they lied when I have other veterans who won't even ask. The unfortunate, I met a veteran a month and a half ago, 103 years old, was on Utah Beach, D-Day. Unfortunately, he died less than 2 weeks ago from COVID. And he did not put a claim in for disability until June of this year. June of this year. And when I see someone stolen valor or people lying, it hurts. And look at this guy. Grew up in a depression, went to World War II, moved out, went to school, moved out to Los Angeles, helped build and design some roads and stuff out there. And he didn't ask for anything because he thought it was a handout. And so, under the PACT Act, there are people coming left and right. Over 1 million claims were filed in the first year under the PACT Act for all kinds of things. Most of them, I've seen a bunch. A lot of them are bogus, totally bogus. I've seen people go online and send money to a doctor to write what's called nexus statements to justify them getting a VA disability award. And you know, here's the thing. If you have ringing in your ears, that could be a 10% disability, $173 per month. You sprain your ankle and you say, I got chronic weakness and everything, that can be another 20%, and now you're 30%, you're getting over $600. And so, yeah, I strained my knees. Oh, I got plantar fasciitis. Oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. And the VA gives you 50% for plantar fasciitis. So now you're getting over $1,200, about $1,200 a month, and you're getting free health care for the rest of your life for plantar fasciitis. But you know what? If you're just a regular person, you go in and you go to Walmart and buy some lifts so your plantar fasciitis doesn't hurt you as much. A lot of the things that the VA is giving disability for are based on outdated standards. Standards that were in the 40s and the 50s. Having a sore knee or a sore back, there's a lot of stuff that the VA will give you disability for that millions of people put up with every single day and adapt their lives to. If the VA doesn't get control over it, what is going to happen is the VA will no longer have enough money to fund it itself. And my thing is, with 1,200 and what was it, 98 sites, and the number of veterans going down, decreasing about $700,000 a year. Hey, within the next 10, 15 at the latest, you will no longer have the VA healthcare system. You will have the United States national healthcare system. We will have the same type of national healthcare system that Canada and Great Britain has, because there's no way in the world you are going to shut down 1,300 facilities and lay off hundreds of thousands of employees and reduce the spending. So that's all I have for today. I'll have to wait until next week to go on the VA scams, the veteran scams.
On the long road, don't turn around. Secrets in the shadows, lost and found. Truth in every echo, loud and clear. Keep on with the long road.